Should you pull for Hugo? Yes. But also no. Let's start with why you should pull for Hugo. If Hugo is your Pookie, your husbando, or whatever, just pull for him and be happy. He's a good unit, trust me. Always pull for your husbandos and wife characters, you'll always be happy if you have them. He is stylish, cool, and literally the only 4th male S-rank character in the game, finally. And here, I thought they hated men character in Triple Z. And outside of aesthetics, Hugo's playstyle just feels incredibly fun to play. Hugo is a powerful, and I mean powerful, ice attacker. Personally, for me, I love attacker units because you just go in and deal damage, no need to worry about build-up from Anomaly people. You literally go in and just unga bunga. If you lack strong attack units, then Hugo is an excellent pickup and he's not too hard to build. When he drops, he will be the strongest ice attacker unit in the game. Sorry to Ellen, power creeping is not nice to her. His style and character makes him one of the smoothest characters on and off the field in Triple Z yet. As the final unit before 2.0, he is a great send-off for everyone we received in 1.0. And although I hype him up a lot today in the video, please be ready for all the reasons why you shouldn't pull for him if you're on the fence to begin with. Let's start with Hugo team compositions. He's incredibly easy to set up. All you need to have is 2 stun units on the team next to him. And I know it's pretty odd to see a unit need 2 stun units on the team, but if you're free to play, this is actually really easy to get going. After all, we all received 1 free ambi from starting our accounts. I mean, we all have that, right? I couldn't see a world where you wouldn't have ambi on your account. With 1 stun unit down, the other A rank stun unit we have is Pulchra, and she's relatively easy to get as she's an A rank, so you might run into her sooner than you would say an S rank. Everyone else is unfortunately S rank, but if you manage to snag Lycon from standard, or if you lose your 50-50, sorry. He will be the best choice for Hugo as they're both ice units, so they'll proc each other's passives. Of course, the other stunners will be a great choice as well, especially Lighter, but I'm trying to make this free to play as friendly as possible. And sorry to break the news, but Vivian will not be an effective teammate for Hugo as they just kind of lack synergy for one another. But hey, if you want to make a Mockingbird team, then go for it. Not a bad choice. You know, whatever makes you happy, just do that. For Bang Boos, of course, you want to go with Robin because he's canonically just strong with Hugo anyways. But if you don't have Robin, then go with an ice-oriented one, so Shark Boo or Penguin Boo. That, or just choose a support one. And honestly, Hugo will be pretty much executing all enemies on the field before the Bang Boos could even touch them, so to be honest, just choose an ice one and move on with your day. It won't matter that much. Now for skills. Everything I'm taking is currently from the story in-game. He's not yet released. At this point though, I cannot see anything else changing except for numbers, so I assume everything will be final here. I will be simply summarizing Hugo's kit. Hugo's playstyle revolves around attacking stunned enemies. If there's 1 stun unit on the team, he will get a flat increase to his attack. But if there's 2 stunners, then this will be further increased. And this is why you bring 2 stun units, because his attack will be just even more broken. Hugo excels best when he's about to jump stunned enemies. You can use him as much as you want on the field, but for better results, you want to just swap him in when enemies are stunned. If his chain attack hits an enemy, or he stuns an enemy himself, he'll gain the Dark Abyss Reverb form for 6 seconds. And this form is nasty. Dark Abyss Reverb is important as it'll increase his crit rate by 12% and his crit damage by 25%. With this, his crits will smack enemies often. His kit revolves around a new mechanic called Totalize, and this is insane for damage. Totalize increases the damage multiplier of a skill's finishing move by an extremely large percentage. To trigger Totalize, hit a stunned enemy with your EX special or ultimate. The remaining stun time of an enemy will be calculated into Totalize's damage, so the sooner you use it, the better. Otherwise, the damage will be significantly less. Once you land Totalize, the damage is just look at it. Wow, that is a lot of damage to do. After Hugo triggers Totalize, the enemy will break free from their stun state, but they'll begin with some daze already applied onto them, so it's a nice head start for stunning enemies. His team passive ability relies on having stun or ice units on your team. His chain attack will get an increase in damage if you meet the team passive ability, and his Totalize, when triggered, will deal even more damage. Lastly, his EX special will generate an additional 20 energy when it triggers Totalize. Everything you see on screen is done with the story's mid-level 50 Hugo, and he's already doing a lot of damage. He's not yet fully built or with his signature W engine. Just imagine how powerful he'll be once you have him in your hands fully built. Overall, his gameplay feels very clean to play, even more so than Vivian in my opinion. If you're looking for a person who is fast, strong, and an absolute monster in terms of damage, Hugo is a great choice. His playstyle is simplistic. Bring him in to deal totalize and he'll execute anyone left standing on the field. And one last note, he does have a charge shot on his 4th basic attack, so keep that in mind so you're not just aimlessly just spamming your attack buttons every time. Now, for those going the extra mile, let's just take a look at his Mindscapes. Do you really need copies of Hugo? Well, if you're free to play, then you don't really need it. Just get 1 copy and you're good. But if you have more, then expect to deal more damage. At Mindscape 1, if you trigger Totalize under Dark Abyss Reverb state, the skill's crit rate is increased by an additional 12% and a crit damage by 30%, bringing this to a total of 24% crit rate and 55% crit damage. He will be ripping through everyone. At M2, if his ult triggers Totalize, and I need you to sit down when I tell you this, his ult will not end the enemy stun state, meaning you can keep dealing more damage or use your EX special to trigger Totalize back to back. Not only that, but at M2, his Totalize when trigger will ignore 15% of the enemy's defense. If you ever wanted copies of Hugo, then his M2 is priority. At M4, his charge shot will reduce the enemy's ice resistance for 15 seconds, and this will reset if you use the charge shot again, so you can juggle this as much as you want to. And lastly, his M6, which is really broken, all of his shooting attacks will trigger Dark Abyss Reverb. And just like his M4, this will reset if you shoot the enemy again, allowing you to have infinite DAR. And that's not all. At M6, any skill that triggers Totalize, the damage will be further increased by 60%. And finally, his EX special will trigger Totalize on enemies even when they're not stunned, boosting the damage multiplier of the finishing move by a fixed 1000%. In English, it's a lot of damage. Although he's up there as one of the more broken Mindscapes you can get, and you should get if you have the money and you really like Hugo, once again, it is completely optional. Hugo out of the bag is really strong, and all of this is pretty much overkill. But just know, for anybody out there who really likes Hugo and you wanna go M6 him, it's absolutely worth it. Now, I know I overhyped Hugo, and he does look really strong on paper and everything. Let's get into why you shouldn't pull for Hugo. If you don't like Hugo's design, his playstyle, or you have other units that satisfy you already, then you don't need him. It's as simple as that, just skip. If you're already getting by the game with what you have, and honestly, Ellen is a good sub if you don't have Hugo, you'll be fine. Not only that, but according to the dev talk, we will be getting buffs to older characters, so stay tuned for that. Maybe Ellen will probably surpass Hugo. Probably not, but we can hope. As of right now, Hugo is dropping alongside a Lighter rerun. And honestly, if you had to choose between Lighter or Hugo, I would highly recommend Lighter instead. Lighter offers more utility and can be slotted into many different team comps. Hugo, on the other hand, is a big selfish DPS character, and he's not gonna really sit back and be backup for anybody else in the game so far. If you're watching this video right before 2.0, then you need to wake up and remember that we are super close to it. Yixuan is already hinted to drop soon according to the official social media post, and she's hinted to be a very strong unit. People in-game and the devs have stated that she's on the level of a Void Hunter, so she's looking to be a yes, you should absolutely pull for her type character similar to Miyabi. But if Yixuan doesn't interest you, then there's also Jifufu who's coming out, or Pen, so if either of these two interest you, that's also an option as well if you want to skip Hugo. And also Jifufu is looking absolutely adorable, like who wouldn't want to pull for her? I will be pulling for her for sure. Now, I really can't see a world where Yixuan won't be a strong character. Triple Z's anniversary will be coming out real soon, and she may be our anniversary unit, so she's gonna be very strong. And lastly, Miyabi, if you really want her, she hasn't had her rerun yet. And if you really want Miyabi, then you could probably just wait for her. And I have a really bad feeling that if you don't have Miyabi, they might just drop her alongside Yixuan during the anniversary. Now, that's entirely speculation, Hoyo. I didn't look at any leaks. Trust me, don't shoot me, please. That's what I have, just speculating off the top of my head. If Yixuan or Miyabi interests you, then you could totally skip Hugo. That is a completely valid option. So with all that said, Hugo is an excellent choice if you really want him. If you really like his playstyle, his design, the fact that he can blow up enemies easily, he is a good pick. I recommend him. But let's say you're kind of scared for pulls, you're not really too sure whether you should save up for Yixuan or Jifufu or whatnot, then skipping Hugo, if you already have good units, you don't need Hugo. Especially if Yixuan's going to be a Void Hunter character, she's going to be very strong. As we see with Miyabi, Miyabi is meta-defining, very strong. Every account should have her. I have so many friends who don't have her and they regret it. So if you don't have Yixuan, don't miss out on her. But hey, if you really want to test your luck and get Yixuan and Hugo, hope that you beat your 50-50s and early pities, go for it. That's your polls, you do what you want. Personally, for me, if I wasn't already aiming to get everyone in ZZZ as a content creator, I would skip out on Hugo because he's cool, but Yixuan, I would make sure I have everything ready for her when she drops. With that said, thank you guys for watching. If you're pulling for Hugo, good luck out there, and if you're not, be strong. Don't worry, Yixuan's around the corner. You're gonna get this. You'll pull through. Have a good one, guys.